Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome, Chief Justice and President of the Judiciary, Honorable Justin Muturi, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Cabinet Secretaries present, Dr. Margaret Nyakango, Control of Budget, FCPA Nancy Gathungu, Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya, Chairpersons, Vice Chairpersons, Commissioners of Constitutional Commissions present, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, the Deputy Governor David Kones of Nakuru, Principal Secretaries present, Chief Executive Officers of CCIOs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, good afternoon. It is with great pleasure and honor that I stand before you today as the Chairperson of the Council of Governors during this crucial retreat of the executive and the constitutional and independent offices in Kenya. This gathering presents a unique opportunity for us to strengthen the critical partnership that underpin the success of devolution in Kenya. Our Constitution enshrines devolution as a cornerstone of a more prosperous and equitable nation. It empowers counties to be engines of growth and development, directly impacting the lives of our citizens. However, realizing this ambitious vision necessitates collaborative efforts. I would like to therefore take this opportunity to express sincere appreciation for the invaluable role played by the various commissions and independent offices in entrenching devolution in Kenya. Your dedication, expertise, and commitment to upholding the principles of devolution have been instrumental in driving forward the vision of a more inclusive, accountable, and responsive governance system. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, it is, however, concerning that some of the constitutional commissions and independent offices have not fully embraced the vital principle of devolution, which is a cornerstone of our national values and principles of governance, binding all state organs to its objectives. This includes state officers, public officers, and all persons whenever applying the Constitution. We must call for a paradigm shift in this retreat, constitutional commissions and independent offices to wholeheartedly reconsider their approach and integrate a devolution lens into all aspects of discharging their constitutional functions. Only then can we ensure that all citizens experience the benefits of devolution and that this cornerstone of our governance structure is truly upheld. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you are all indispensable in the integrity, efficiency, and effectiveness of government. I implore upon you to generate actionable insights to orient strategy implementation by both levels of government so as to avoid risks and losses, enhance integrity and accountability, and improve governance controls. A decade into devolution, county governments continue to grapple with myriad challenges hindering effective service delivery. These entrenched issues include, but are not limited to, 1, financial of the Auditor General and Control of Budget has shown that county governments have faced persistent difficulties in prudent financial management and limited capacity for revenue generation, leading to missed revenue targets and inefficient utilization of resources. This calls for enhanced efforts to facilitate public financial management reforms at the county level. On revenue collection shortfalls, county governments consistently fail to meet their own source revenue targets, leaving them heavily reliant on equitable share allocations from the national government. This dependency, of course, compromises their fiscal autonomy. On centralization tendencies, There are continued efforts to claw back on devolved functions which undermine the spirit of devolution, creating conflicts and confusion over roles and responsibilities. On disputes on divisions of revenue, ongoing disagreements surrounding the equitable sharing of revenue between national and county governments creates delays and uncertainty in budget implementation. And on human resource management, persistent industrial actions by workers, especially in the health sector, has not only disrupted service delivery of crucial services, but also continues to erode public trust in our ability to address their needs effectively. Also, the management of the wage bill is a major concern in the counties. I therefore call for a renewed commitment from the distinguished members of the CCIOs to engage in open dialogue and collaboration. Let's together identify practical solutions to all these challenges and those that face the CCIOs directly, strengthening devolution's foundations for the benefits of all Kenyans, protecting and enhancing democracy, the rule of law, transparency, accountability, and a human rights culture. Ladies and gentlemen, promotion of sustainable intergovernmental relations between the two levels of government while respecting the function and institutional integrity and the constitutional status of either level is at the center of our governance. I urge the constitutional commissions and independent offices to support the two levels of government in achieving this. And while we do that, maybe this will be a great opportunity for all the commissions to go back to the first question of why the framers of the Constitution saw it fit to have independent commissions in Kenya. It is indeed because of our history. What were these commissions established to do? Why were they created independent of the executive? It's because Kenyans had a history of mistrust or expectations that had not been met, and therefore they said there are certain functions that they wanted to be carried out independently. For example, I was a Treasury official for a very long time, and before the Constitution, both the functions of budgeting, including the controlling of budget and audit, was a function of the National Treasury. But now, they are independent and they carry out their functions independently because Kenyans saw it fit that it should be so. The same applies for IPOA, for example. Why is it that violations that have been carried out by institutions of police were separated from that institution and put separately in IPOA? Is because of our history and what Kenyans had experienced. Similarly, the issues of integrity, EACC, and DCI. And therefore, mostly and affect most of us, which is budget, that you also consider having a conversation on why it is that the framers of the Constitution independent commissions. And then ask yourselves, are we carrying out that function as we ought to carry according to the spirit of the Constitution? Or are we an appendage of the executive or the public? And the reason I say this, I'm constrained to say this, is because this week we had an uncomfortable exchange between some people from the council and one of the independent commissions, and it was very unfortunate. And there was a public conversation about how then, if you hold the office of an independent commission, how you should carry out that function. I think that is a critical conversation. How should you carry out that function? And I'll give the function, for example, of investigations because it is very sensitive. Everybody assumes that politicians are corrupt, but there's corruption everywhere in this country if you're honest with yourself, whether in the private sector, in the social sector, in the national government, in the county governments. And so how do you as independent commissions carry out that fiduciary duty within the spirit of the Constitution so that you give confidence to the public that indeed you're carrying it out without fear or favor? I think the experience of this week was uncomfortable, so to speak, for those of us who hold the office of governor, and for me, the office of the chair of Council of Governors. I'm constrained to mention it. So while we have a conversation about our financial needs and how to work together as interdependent and interrelated to achieve that mandate, I think it is also imperative as commissioners to also be established, and therefore for what and how then that mandate, so that we can have the confidence of the Kenyan public without prejudice or independence. Without prejudice and dependence. Maintaining harmonious working relationships amongst all levels and arms of government is essential to improve service delivery to citizens and foster a more prosperous and equitable nation. And we all say this, and for more politicians is more a reality. We're here for a season. We do our work, we do it to the best that we can, and then we pass on this country to be led by other people. There were 1,000 leaders before we were here. There will be 1,000 more after we are gone. And I think it is our responsibility as leaders to ensure that we bestow to the generations that come a better country. This is this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to the principles of devolution and democracy, and redouble our efforts to overcome the obstacles that stand in our way. Together we can build a stronger, more resilient governance system that truly serves the interests of all Kenyans. As I conclude, let us all remain dedicated to constitutionalism and to the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination, and protection of the marginalized in Kenya. God bless you, and God bless Kenya.